In crucial conversations, we place our faith in the connection of two really big ideas. That first, well, the idea is that if everyone is filling this imaginary pool of meaning, that maybe we'll actually do something about it, right? That doesn't sound quite right. If people are filling the pool, maybe we'll do something about it. No, we need to do something about it. So the theme of my message is how we can move to action as we've been filling this pool of meaning. So if you'll join with me, I'm going to share with you something that I like to call the parable of the squirrel. Now, if I call it the story of the squirrel, that wouldn't sound as cool, right? I said it's a parable, so that makes it a lot cooler. All right, so what I need you to do is I need you to imagine that you're in a summery day in the park, and maybe you're seated on a bench, enjoying the day, enjoying the view. And off to your left, there's a nice big tree. And you see a group of people start congregating towards this tree. And you don't have anything else better to do, and it's a nice summery day. So you decide, hey, why don't I see what's going on here? You walk over to this scene happening in front of you. And by this tree, there are two worlds that are about to collide. All right, world number one. This beautiful squirrel running around the tree. I don't know, on the scale of beautiful squirrels, maybe it's an 8. From 1 to 10, right? I don't know what the squirrel variable would be, but okay. It's an 8 squirrel running around the tree, so beautiful and wonderful. But also the second world that's about to collide with this squirrel is there's a dog that's inching its way closer and closer and closer to the squirrel. So you're a part of this group of bystanders thinking, oh, isn't this dog cute? Until finally you realize that we have a horrible thing that's about to happen in front of us. This dog is within striking distance of the squirrel. And for the sake of the story, we'll say sadly, let's say the dog actually does leap at the squirrel, gets the squirrel in its mouth, everybody runs to the dog, they pull the squirrel out of its mouth, and the squirrel dies. Now, the moral of that story, if you don't engage in crucial conversations, every squirrel in the world will die. No, I'm kidding, clearly, but there's an important takeaway, at least two nonetheless. Now, first off, as we think about crucial conversations, right, this idea is everyone fills this pool of meaning. We all share our best thoughts and ideas and outcomes that we want to see. Well, we're all seeing this pool of meaning fill in front of us as the dog gets closer to the squirrel. However, did we do anything about it? Sadly, the answer is no. Now, the individual that I heard this whole parable of the squirrel from had a very powerful takeaway message, I think, that fits in this idea of learning to move to action. He said that our failure to act often makes us complicit in the outcome. And that should be really scary to some of us. Our failure to act makes us complicit in the outcome. So think of some of the crucial conversations you engage in and the outcomes that you want to avoid. Right? Some of us have crucial conversations about individuals we hope will be more respectful to us. Others, our crucial conversations are around loving relationships that we find are eroding. Maybe it's just with a workplace relationship where we hope that someone will start showering a little bit more, smell a little bit better. I don't know what it may be. But do we want to be complicit with that outcome? No, we don't. So the thing to remember is when we're in a crucial conversation to add a very simple but important element to the conversation, at least to the end. We should remember that based on everything that we've discussed, when we have everything in this pool of meaning, we should remember that we should document who is going to do what, by when, and how are we going to follow up. We need to decide what are the action items we're going to take, when are we going to talk about it again, and then let's revisit it at a later date. So, lest I end my message with the vision of dead squirrels in your mind, I'll do you a favor. We'll add a new story to this element here. A great story about someone that really understood the power of moving to action. So, I want you to recall your brains back as the United States and the world kind of joined in horror as we watched the bombings at the Boston Marathon happen. And immediately after the bomb went off, the FBI led a joint task force of terrorism with local law enforcement and other the intelligence community members in finding these culprits, the Tsarnaev brothers. Well, we found out afterward it was the Tsarnaev brothers. So in this effort of trying to find these individuals that set off these bombs, one of the things that they did is they watched film footage from everything they could find near Ground Zero. They watched ATM camera film footage. They watched people taking ridiculous selfies in the heat of the moment. They watched building security cameras, anything that would give them a clue as to who set off these bombs. Well, in an interview with the executive assistant director, her name is Stephanie Douglas, in an interview with her, the interviewer asked her, out of all this film footage that you watched, I mean, these are a recreation of a harrowing experience over and over and over again. Out of all these different film clips that you watched, what stuck out to you the most? And she shared a story that really fits with this move to action idea. She said, as I watched one film footage, the bomb goes off and all you see in the screen is a cloud of smoke fill the screen. And then as the smoke began to dissipate, it was clear that there was an individual rolling around on the ground who was on fire. And a few feet away from them was a police officer who looked to his left, seeing this individual on fire, dove to the ground and with his bare hands began patting the fire out with his bare hands. Now, clearly this is an individual. This police officer is someone who says, I'm not going to be complicit with this outcome. I'm going to change the outcome of what I see in front of me. And for each of us, as we seek to move to action, as we try to document how we're going to change things based on our crucial conversation, hopefully we join him in saying, you know what, I'm going to be an agent of change, even if it costs me a few things, even if I have to sacrifice some of myself to drive the change that I want. So I end my message to you with a sentiment shared by an author and business leader by the name of Margaret Heffernan. And we're going to amend it a little bit. Her original quotation is that openness, right, in this idea of sharing to the pool of meaning, openness is not the end. It's the beginning. And at least with what we've learned here with Move to Action, I would amend that and say openness is not the end. It's the beginning of our responsibility to act. Thank you.